Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Get Response Live, episode 210. So today we're talking about customer feedback, which is often also open questions and text, and how can you then analyze that using AI. And Lukasz is my guest today. Welcome, Lukasz.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. From Poland, right?
Yeah, Poland, Warsaw.
Yeah, and you were just explaining me in Poland it's still hot. Here it's normal temperatures now, but in Poland still you are.
It's so hot. Unfortunately, in Poland we have continental climate, which means that we won't get much rain, and so it will be hot for days.
Yeah. Now, good luck with that. We know yesterday it was up to 38 here, so we know where you're at. If you're watching, let us know. We always like to see your questions, your comments, your remarks. And you can just use the commenting section in LinkedIn or YouTube, wherever you're watching. Let us know if it's still warm at your place, or if you're still, if it's normal now. But let us know if you're watching, or you can give us a like, because that helps us in our visibility. Where's my nice picture with the like? Is it this one? Yeah, it's this one. So don't forget to like or subscribe to our channel on YouTube. We're almost at 2,000 subscribers, so almost a new milestone again. We love these numbers. And if you want to learn more about Power BI, about AI, data, have a look at our learning platform, PowerUp, which now also has a lifetime access option. So not anymore only subscription model, but you can also pay a one-time amount and get forever access to all the current and new trainings. So have a look at our website for more information, because it's very popular. We launched it 3 weeks ago and a lot of people like it. So that's very nice to see. But today we're talking about AI and data and customer analytics. And Lukasz, before we dive into the details, and I will add your screen, can you give us a short introduction what you are doing with your company, 10 Senses?
Yeah, so basically we work with data. So we had some Power BI projects in the past. Currently, we focus primarily on the language models and various stuff that you can do around language models, and the analytics that can be based on language models is very promising, and I will be discussing this topic today.
Ooh. Yeah, I like that the combination. So I'll add your screen and
great.
Take us into the solution you are working on.
Yeah. So before I start, let me just say the presentation is for 25, maybe 30 minutes, which means that we have time for Q&As. So if there is anything which, in your opinion, should be highlighted, maybe something should be discussed more, maybe there are questions, just type those in the chat in here in the app or on LinkedIn. So whichever medium you use, just comment, and we'll try to pick up on those and tell more.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, so let me move to the presentation. So just to say a few things about me and about our company. So basically we have like I'm the head of 10 Senses, where we do various data science stuff. But I'm here in Poland. I'm involved in a few places. So I'm the member of this GRI, this AI working group at the Ministry of Digitization, where we focus on we do consulting around Polish AI strategy. I'm also involved in the DAMA Poland, which is Data Management Association, where we focus on data quality. My background is in social sciences. I also have a PhD in economics. So I must say sociologist turned econometrician by academic background.
Oh, nice combination.
Yeah. And so we try to communicate various topics around AI. So we, for example, organize the Explainable AI Day. So this is the last year's version. It's the recordings are available on YouTube or on our channel. Our keynote was Joris Krieger from the Volksbank. So a person from Netherlands. He did a great keynote. So topics around algorithmic explainability, if you're interested in that, so you can look up our...
what's the name of the channel? Is it 10 Senses, the channel?
10 Senses, yeah.
Yeah, all right. Cool.
Okay, and my background is in social sciences. So which means that while I work with AI, I will find other use cases and try to, tackle the problems from a different angle than many AI engineers. So I'm not a computer scientist, and you will see it obviously during the presentation that it's from this approach to AI is from a different angle, much more analytics and less technical. And just to give an example, what a sociologist doing data in these days does. So this is the example of our work that we did with the Polish division of T-Mobile. So we did a project for them where we wrote from scratch all the methodology on how you can count how people move around in big agglomerations based on how they log into the grid. So, and based on these projects, in half of big Polish agglomerations, the public transportation is organized. So when you know how many people move around, at which time, from which parts of the city, it's way easier to plan how your buses should work. And just to finish, we since a while have a strategic partnership with Edisonda, who are originally a UX and design company. And we do it because we think that chat won't be the final version of interacting with AI. So we try to find other versions or other, solutions around user experience. So maybe some buttons, maybe some pop-ups, stuff like that. And that's our joint work to to provide novel services around AI, which do not necessarily have to be another chatbot. Okay, and let's move to the topic. So currently, companies have lots of data, and whatever is built whatever is in the form of tables, rows, it can be reported, and the companies are pretty good at at putting it to, say, Power BI and providing some dashboards which enable the organization with analytics. However, whatever is in the qualitative form, so it's text, it's problematic, because how can you report like email in a Power BI? So what companies do is they do consumer research. So they do surveys to discover clients' needs. What they also do is sometimes in-depth interviews or focus group to hear the actual voice of the right the actual sentences that customers use. Sometimes they do mystery shoppers or audits, so where they send surveyors as customers who are to check how the service is being done. But basically these are consumer research. So the output is a PDF report where you have like the insights, the most important information. It's not something that you can actually put into a Power BI report. It has many flaws because it requires time to organize. It costs money, and by definition, it covers just a part of the reality. So it just covers the questions that you were asked in the survey. It covers only this particular set of people in this particular time frame. So not only it's costly, it's very sketchy. So
and because it is also in different systems, maybe always. That for one system you use for the surveys, and another system you use for the shopper, the mystery shopper.
Yeah, also, yeah.
It's scattered around systems.
Yeah, exactly. So for this reason, it's the approach that companies were using for years. It's not something new. And so how to go around, and why do we actually need it? Like the AI for extract information from text. So if we think about it, we may have emails for customers. So they write some emails and they explain their needs or their pain points. We may have some comments on the internet about a product. We may have a transcript of a conversation from a call center. We may also have a chat with the client for in a conversation box. And so there are many places where we actually get this text, and it's a wealth of knowledge, but it's you need to do these research projects to get understanding of what is going on in there. And what happens now is that once we have LLMs, many companies are having this approach that, you know what, we can put it into a language model, and it will provide us with an abstract with condensed information of what is going on. The problem with such approach is that if I have 100,000 abstracts, it's still text. It's still not something I can actually report. So it can be useful in some cases. For example, if I want to have notes from a meeting or notes after a meeting with the client, still it's not the right input which we could fit into say Power BI or databases generally. So how do we go about reporting text? So here we have an email from a customer who says that he bought the latest model of city sneakers. I need them for everyday walk, for work. A few days after I started wearing them, I noticed something was wrong. They started coming apart. So we see that there's a problem. Now I tried to send them back to you, but it's hard to do this. I'm amazed that you don't care about your customers. So we see that the customer said like where he or she will use the way of using the product. He said that he or she said that there's a problem not only with the product but also with the service. So it's valuable information. What we can do with LLMs is, if I have the email and I have a question for the LLM, like here is the customer satisfied with the product? The language model will correctly say that it's no, that it will fill out the box, that the customer is not satisfied. Afterward, if I pose another question, so if the first question was no, not satisfied, then why is the customer not satisfied with the product? And so it's a multiple choice question where it has like 5 potential like zeros and ones. And also here, LLM will be good at filling out the right boxes. So in this case, it's damage during use and also issues with the complaint process.
So one step back, Lukasz, because you rightfully started with, okay, you could copy and paste this text into an LLM, be it ChatGPT, something else, and ask, okay, give me a summary, and then it will give a summary, not satisfied with the product and the service. But now you're giving more of a structured questions. You let you feed the LLM with, okay, answer these questions, basically like a questionnaire to the to the complaint, so that you get a more structured, more predictable answers instead of having every time different answers.
So the general goal is that we want to have this agent who is actually an interviewee. So the person who normally would have to go with a questionnaire and fill out the boxes. So a human. But with LLMs, we can automate this.
And people don't like to fill in questionnaires that are very long. So they just want to write their story, and then now you translate it basically into a questionnaire format.
True.
Right?
And if we had like say 100,000 transcripts from a call center, like if we were to give hand this task out to humans, like I'm pretty sure that half of the stuff would not last a week or two because it's so dull. And but with LLMs we can automate this, and it will be cheap and very standardized. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I understand. Cool.
And if we move forward, like, so now I know like what are the complaints, but so if it's damage during use, issues with the complaint process, I force it to provide me with an abstract. So say, tell me the problem in 150 characters.
Yeah.
We can also make it the way that we copy paste the original text. However, in some cases you have to make the abstract because it can be lengthy. So so either abstract or the original text, but it's also something the LLM is efficient at doing. And now, the question to the audience, like, if you think about it, which of these 3 questions is potentially tough for LLM?
Yeah, so if you're watching this, there is a short delay always, I know, in the live, but it would be great if you can answer in the comments, because that's why we do this live, to have a little bit interaction.
If you provide some comments and some like intuition. So we have three questions. One is yes and no, so single choice. The second one is multiple choice with 5 possible answers, and the third one is the LM provides an abstract.
Yeah, no, I don't see any answers yet. It's still probably hot, but if you are still watching, let us know in the comments. Write it down. Don't be afraid. There's no wrong answer. And otherwise we'll continue. I think I would opt for question number 1, Lukasz, because I think it's the summary. It has to be sort of sentiment analysis. Is the customer now happy or not? I think that's the most tricky one.
Yeah. So the answer is question number 1.
Oh,
and not because of the output, but because of the actual question. So question number 2 and question number 3 are very specific.
Yeah.
And question number 1 is general, and because what is satisfaction anyway?
Yeah.
It's it really can depend on the case. Sometimes there can be other things that that can suggest frustration of the customer, which are not necessarily related to the service of the product. So and LLM can pick up on this.
Yeah.
So so abstract notions like satisfaction or this is generally also the problem with LLMs and emotions. That while they can identify with sentiment analysis, the emotional state of the user or of the text, it's not really reliable.
Yeah.
And so
maybe you should rephrase it then, the question. Is that what you're saying? That you may have to make it different?
Yeah, I mean, with this abstract concept, if you had 3 person, even people, they would disagree on abstract topics. That's the thing. So you really need to be specific at what you're actually looking for. And this question, is the customer satisfied with the product? We may need to additionally prompt it to get a very specific answer, which actually fits our our process.
Yeah, and sometimes people are also not they have different the way they describe it does not always reflect their sentiment maybe correctly, because we also do a lot of questionnaires in our trainings, and last week we gave a training where we delivered the communication a little bit too late. I will leave in the middle whether that was our fault or for the customer. That doesn't that's not the point, but a lot of people replied in the open remarks, oh, we would have liked the communication earlier to prepare better for the training. But they gave high ratings. They gave a rating of average 8.5. So yeah, is the customer now satisfied or not? Because they give a high rating, but they do have 3 out of 8 had a remark, the communication should have been earlier.
Yeah. There's also the topic of sarcasm. How do you capture sarcasm?
Yeah.
So these abstract topics are hard. Very specific topics are easier.
Yeah. Interesting.
Okay, so what actually happens underneath is like the task of this AI agent is that if we have this email and we have a data set, what happens is it picks on a specific part of the text and it fills out the database. So these are these two things that we captured, and we need to store them in a data set so that it's available for reporting in such format as we see it in the table. It's already possible to report it. So yeah.
So what you're saying is the questionnaires, the outputs out of that, are then stored in a standard table. That's
exactly
what you're saying, that the agent first asks the questions and the right follow-up questions. Because if it would have been the answer, yes, he's very happy, it would have different questions maybe after that. But it is stored in the end in one single table so that it is normalized, the output.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Cool.
And so how to think about turning raw text into tables? So the way we think about it and we approach it is we think in terms of questionnaires. So say we have a screener. At this point, we like there's a decision whether this particular part of text should be actually even analyzed by the agent for many reasons, like it's not this profile of the client, etc. So whether do we actually use the agent? Then we have product features. So whatever questions we want to ask, like in this case, it was about sneakers. So it would be maybe we want to capture anything that was said about color, material, durability, style, whatever there is. Like we may want to build questions around these specific topics. So this is product. However, the other thing is the customer. So in terms of customer, maybe want to capture some demographics, some lifestyle, some shopping habits, clothing style. So these would be questions around such topics. And also, like the third part of the questionnaire could be the shopping experience. So website navigation, product descriptions, images. So whatever they say about these topics, we want to have questions around these topics so that LLM would fill out the information in the questionnaire. And finally, there may be some legal issues, like legal questions. In some cases, like for example, we had this case of web gambling. So they are highly regulated, and they needed to pick up on potential cases where people just spend too much money, spend too much time, on the website doing online gambling. So there may be some illegal issues which we want to also add. And the thing is, like, it's all around a questionnaire, so you can specify the questionnaire whatever way you want. So you may have like 5 questions for a short questionnaire, which is like just on a small topic. You may want to have 20 questions, so single choice, multiple choice, and abstract as the output. So the way you specify the questionnaire is highly customizable. It doesn't have to be like done in a specific way.
But so, for example, the customer characteristics. So you have this email with this complaint.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to know a couple of things about this customer, but that's not reflected in the email. What its hobbies are and what the family is. Will it then retrieve the data from somewhere else to combine it, or how will it work in the?
It's just the agent. Like, we wanted to get only the information from only to pick up on what is in the text. However, obviously, you can integrate information from, say, CRM and add it as a context. Like, even with these products, there will be better results if you have this email, the questionnaire, but also get the specification of the product. Because sometimes they will mention things which are very specific to a product, so you want to inform the LLM to so that it knows what the user is actually, the customer is actually referring to.
So you need to have your data available for the agent, to retrieve the relevant data, be it on the email address or, and then look up all the other information from CRM and the order, etc.
You may provide the information around this specific product or service. You may provide information regarding historical, interaction with the client, because this may add context. However, it's a different thing, because all this requires integrations, and it's a topic on its own.
And do you foresee that this solution is to categorize the question, the complaints, etc.? But do you think in the future that these agents will be able to answer then also, to give right away an answer to the customer? This is how we solve this.
I mean, there are companies which actually do stuff like that. But the thing is, interaction with the customer is a different use case. Integrations of the historical data is a different use case. I'm focusing solely just on how to make the agent.
Just thinking along that maybe that could be a next step.
Did we lose the?
No, we didn't. I just switched myself.
Okay,
we're back.
Okay, so how do we configure these agents? And this is I would say, the most important part. So because in order to get the right output, you need to provide it with the right questionnaire. It's only that. And so the way we think about it is that, say, we need to start with something. So say there is a sales book or a manual. There may be some guidelines or procedures. If there is nothing, like we may want to build, the requirements during workshops, but we need to know what we are actually looking for. So after that, we build a questionnaire. So this would be lists of events to identify, desired response format, some consistency verification. By consistency, I mean, it's like with questionnaires, we don't need 2 or 3 questions on the same topic. So because it's unnecessary information. So 1 question per topic. Also, did we cover everything? So that's the consistency. And once we have it, we have this configuration of agent. So this would be a system prompt with task for AI. Questions for LLMs are provided in blocks as a questionnaire. And we want to also specify the format of the output. Okay, so how do agents work? So say we have these customer opinions, and we have some metadata. In this case, this could be, say, information on the product they are actually referring to. So we use these 2 sets of information and provide it to LLM. And then we also provide it with the questionnaire. So we have this extractor prompt, and each question is provided with as an additional extractor. And basically, we use something called structured output. So by structured output, we mean that we can force LLM to provide us with JSON output, which is not the type of JSON where it just writes you a JSON. It's rigid. It has to be, the variable with a specified format. And you can specify the only possible output, say 0 or 1, and it won't give you a different output. So it's very rigid. And this
is it possible, Lukasz? Because we always hear it will generate every time something else, but you can instruct it now. Always use this.
And it's called structured output, and it's like when everyone is in awe with LLMs and agents. I had this effect when I saw that you can use structured output to get a very specific output.
That was your aha moment. You thought,
yeah.
This is a great.
Exactly.
Otherwise, it wouldn't work.
Yeah, because like before structured output, we were forcing LLMs to just write me a JSON, and it did. but it was, it was fuzzy. Each time it was a bit different. Okay. Cool. So when you have these chunks of information, you make a single JSON file out of them.
Yeah. And by the way, do you use for the LLM? Do you use a specific LLM? Is it OpenAI or another?
We generally are using OpenAI stuff because we work with Azure. However, you can do it with other language models. Think of it this way. We don't need to build, we don't need to fetch documents here. So we don't use so-called retrieval augmented generation, this RAG. We don't use it. So like, we just use we integrate some metadata, but basically we don't need all this plumbing that, for example, chatbots need. So the task is actually very specific. So yes or no, it's a different task if you would ask, say, write me something or give me various versions of a text and correct consistency, etc. This is difficult. However, with these topics, it's so specific that even smaller language models could be used. Yeah. And that's the additional thing. It's not costly. Because you don't need to do the vector search underneath. You don't need to use various documents. So you put much less into the LLM, and because the task is specific, you can use like cheaper models. So
sometimes it's a lot cheaper, because I investigating a little bit the same, because we are translating our trainings from Dutch to other languages, maybe also Polish, why not? And then we also, for part of the process, we use also, correct the text, because sometimes he doesn't have the right context in mind when he translates it. He figures out, it's about something else. So we give, no, this is about Power BI, data modeling. If you see strange things in the translation, please correct it. But you don't need the latest and the fanciest OpenAI model for that. Exactly. And it can save you up to 100 times in the cost. Because it's much cheaper, the older models. Maybe the 3.5 model maybe even is good enough. You don't know.
Exactly. And to move forward,
sure.
Then you store it in a database, and when it's stored in a database, the question is just how do you report it? Like all that is numbers could easily be shown as charts. For abstracts, for parts of the text which were copied in, you may want to use a table so that you see it. But once the data is there, it's just a question of how to present it.
Cool.
And just like how we think about it. So currently, when people speak about AI agents, they have this idea that AI agents can do everything. They can fetch information from the internet. They can look something up in a document. They can write a SQL and get some information from a CRM. It's great. However, it's not what we do here. So we want it to work as a punch card. Basically, we split the whole work of extracting information into very specific chunks. So one question is one question questionnaire is one question to the LLM. We don't put one questionnaire at once for everything. No, it's task after task, because it allows us to standardize. It's more understandable for the LLM. And whenever we find that there is a problem, for example, we see that this question was satisfaction, that it picked up on some things which are not related to say satisfaction with the product, we may just tweak this one particular question, and we don't have to fix other questions. So we can be very specific in providing some fixes and the tweaks in the model, So that's our approach with the punch card, so that the data on the output is highly standardized. Okay, and if you think about more broadly about Azure environment, then say we have an AI agent and we report it in Power BI, which is great. However, if we already have this data and we have like the voice of the customer captured in numbers, we can do lots of stuff more with it. So you can use various automations. Yeah. So you can use it as a feed into your data environment. So and actually store all this information for further use, and use other tools in the Azure environment to get a better architecture of this information, so that in effect what you get with this agent is a way to feed your whole system with valuable information on the customers. Mm-hmm. And one tricky part. So we have GDPR. The question, like some of the stuff you can do, others you won't be able to do because of legal stuff. This is based on on Polish GDPR regulations, but they are mostly the same in other European countries. So how to go about it? So let's say we start with the scope of the analysis. We have the workshop. We know our questions. We know our topics that we want to cover. Then we check the compliance with the GDPR, and there are topics which we are allowed to analyze. So first of all, when we have these the step where it's not even our client, so we don't have any we don't have any consent, we still can analyze information but just for the purpose of sales activity. So you can imagine that the questionnaire would be very constrained. Once we have the consent, the question is, what does the consent covers? Mm-hmm. So basically, usually it will be stuff around service quality, stuff around the needs of the customers, anything that is related to the provision of the service or the product. On the other hand, there may be other topics which are not allowed and are not within the consent. However, there is also the exceptions that does things which we can analyze, even if it's not within the consent. And these are topics around public health, national security, criminal investigations. So, yeah. And there are other topics which we won't be able to analyze. So it's all of the personal information, personal life of the customer, racial, ethnic origin, political opinions, health data. So we need to build the questionnaire so that they cover only only what is within the consent, only what we need for the business, and not to and remove all the rest. So the questions should be designed this way. And also we may have a one step where the LLM checks everything underneath and even removes if something was still remaining. And yeah, so once we have it, we prepare the questionnaire, which is like smaller, only within the consent. And the best way to do it is actually to have this list of the topics that we want to analyze, and make a small project with the compliance department, so that they can see it, make workshops, remove what they see that is not within the consent. Afterwards, have a little document saying that we did this, we did the procedure. And then you have like not only your like comply in terms of you did it with the department. You don't have to think about it that there is something which shouldn't be there. Also, you have this document that you did the procedure. And at the end would be use cases. So say in e-commerce, the good product descriptions are those which are the actual comments from the users. So it can help you pick up on those. because you understand the what people are saying much better, then it's easier to personalize some offers, easier to pick up on these small niches also. And also, like when you have a process of extracting this information, it's easier to improve the overall sales and customer service.
Yeah.
And also, like, it's easier to target campaigns. And the second case would be in contact centers. So it's easier to pick up on various topics that people mention and do it automatically. So it helps you improve the sales effectiveness. Also, many like managers or coordinators need currently to listen what consultants say. So it can save this time because LLM would do it. And also, eventually you get better customer service. So I would say these are like these two areas where so e-commerce.
It's also interesting because you can not only analyze the way the customers indicated their opinion, but also how you replied.
Exactly.
So maybe you can also questionnaire on the replies from our organization. How did we handle this?
Exactly. Yes.
Interesting. Yeah. I like it.
And that would be all on my side.
Yeah.
If there were any questions, I would gladly answer.
Of course, there is still time for some questions, but yeah, you did it perfectly timed the content because we're only 3 minutes left in our session. But I know that a lot of people are watching back also, and maybe you just joined. You can watch the beginning also back if you thought, hey, this is interesting. So on our channel, youtube.com/getresponsive, you will find the full episode, and you can always ask your questions also when you watch back. Just tag Lukasz, and you will see it in LinkedIn coming by. So I know that we see on average that around 10 times more people watch it back than live, because it's of course middle of the day, and I don't want to do it in the evening. I want to do it today.
I would just add that it's a topic which we like. It's still in development, and it's something we focus a lot. So, but if it's something that raised some questions and you would like to know more, you can ping me on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I gladly answer any questions. So I'm very open to any conversations.
And you just told me there are a lot of people already reacting to this proposition, and you're helping a lot of organizations on this, right? Because what is now the status of this solution? Is it something you are rolling out?
It's still early on, so we are still in a few POCs. So that's the actual state. The thing is that we evangelize, because it's not something that is intuitively understood. What we get like from the market is mostly companies mostly ask about chatbots, about assistants, because they are already educated in this and they more or less understand what they need. However, this is highly useful, and as I think, like once the market matures, there will be more interest, because it solves so many things around data ingestion and around the cycle of data within the organization.
Yeah, and I think it's so applicable to even more topics and areas, right?
Exactly.
Not only for customer feedback, but I was just mentioning also the way your personnel maybe replies, or all other kinds of communication. Maybe you can quantify using LLM instead of doing yourself best guesses or make nice word clouds. You know, it's so much more value adding. So that's also I really appreciated that you wanted to share this, and maybe in 1 year time you speak to each other again, and the technology has evolved and the adoption has moved on.
I think so,
so it will be very interesting to follow you. Thank you also for your remark. Zbig Nief. Great explanations. I gained lots of knowledge. Thank you. Now that's very nice. Thank you for sharing that. We appreciate it. So that is it for this week. We are back next week. Then we're going to be talking about fabric. It's a Dutch language episode again. But we'll be talking about 5 questions that René and his team from Yellow Arrow get a lot about fabric, which is also still relatively new. And he will answer them also. So not only discuss the question, but also the answers. What is the most common asked questions that they get from their customers? So if you're interested in fabric, then join next week. We'll be back at 4 o'clock next Thursday. So for now, have a nice day all, and maybe see you next week. And thank you, Lukasz, for sharing this this very interesting solution. Thank you.
I want to thank everyone for the webinar, for your time. Have a nice day.
Have a nice day. Bye.